This is so good, and I don't understand why it's so good. Like, it's just pictures, and I mean, he does these effects with the fire around it and sound effects. It's so good. Like, I feel like I'm there, and it's more exciting than the movie was. Hello, everyone.
Hello, guys.
I'm Veronica.
And I'm Valdemar.
And today we're continuing with the Epic History series on Napoleon, because we posted the first part some time ago about Napoleon in Toulon, his first victory, and you guys really liked it. So thank you so much for the support.
Yes, I was very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we liked the video, but we just didn't think it would be so popular.
Yeah, because historical videos on this channel are not as well received, but we like watching them, we like uploading them to you. So we will continue to do so, but usually it's the stand-ups that you like the most.
Yeah, so we were really surprised, but we get so many new subscribers, so thank you so much for that. And actually, the comments were so nice under that video. All of you said that you liked the reaction, you liked our comments, it was really nice. So we are, of course, continuing with the series. And today is a slightly longer video. We will try maybe keep the introduction a bit shorter, and so then we can make pauses and comment. But it's about Napoleon in Italy, the Battle of Lodi, 1796.
Yeah, it's the beginning of his campaign in Italy.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of parts to this series, so we will see how far we will go. You guys also recommended us the...
If we are going to watch all of them, it will take years.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I said to the people in the comments, because they said like, oh, if you will watch all of it. And I said, we plan to stick around for a long time, so we might as well finish in a couple of years. It makes me think about like mortality and stuff. Maybe not right now. Anyway, yeah, Napoleon.
Yeah, and to keep it short, we have another channel as well, movie reactions. You can check it out. We upload every Friday. And also a Patreon if you want to support our channel, have early access to videos, or just talk with us.
Yeah, and the movie channel is really cool. You can find it in the description box, and it will really help us if you guys want to check it out as well. If you like movies, there will be some war movies there as well, for sure. For now, there aren't, but there's some action movies that you could check out. There actually is already a 1917 movie about the World War I. So if you're into war and you're into reactions...
If you are into war...
if you're into learning about the war and your interactions, that's something for you. It will be amazing. It would mean a lot to us if you watched and subscribed.
Veronica is basically like, thanks for the World War I. If you are into war, let's watch it together, yeah, and subscribe, yeah. Greatest event in history.
Okay, so Napoleon in Italy.
It's all good.
It's all good. Let's find out. And yeah, a lot of people told us that this one is even better than the first one that we watched. So I'm really excited that the quality is better.
Okay, let's go.
An Epic History TV PMF Productions
collaboration. Oh, it starts like a serious document.
1796,
well, the voice is
at
still...
the height of the French Revolutionary Wars, a young French general took charge of a ragged, demoralized army in northern Italy. It was his first command. Many expected him to fail. Instead, in just 1 month, he won his first brilliant campaign. With astonishing self-confidence, boldness and energy, he led his army to victory after victory, transforming the war in Europe, winning praise from a grateful republic, and forging
that one was not campaign. This is campaign, Campaign is like a series of battles.
So he's a major at this point?
First campaign. And the dawn.
Maybe he was promoted after the battle of Toulon.
He's a corporeal.
1792.
No?
Europe is plunged into conflict by revolution in France. At first, it seems this infant republic will be quickly snuffed out by her neighbors. Incredibly, France clings on, thanks to mass mobilization, patriotic fervor, and her traditional military power. In 1795, France occupies the Low Countries, while Prussia and Spain withdraw from the war.
Belgium is not existing
yet. The French
yet.
Republic still faces a powerful coalition of enemies, which includes
Low
the
countries or
Austrian
Low Country?
Empire and kingdoms of Piedmont, Sardinia, Naples, and Great Britain, as well as a counter-revolutionary revolt in the Vendée region of western France. In Paris, The most extreme revolutionaries had been toppled, sent to the guillotine, as they had sent so many before them.
Yeah, they like the guillotine there.
France is now governed by the Directory, a more moderate 5-man committee, which quickly wins a reputation for corruption and inefficiency.
I like that he added these pictures from the newspapers at the time. It really helps you
plan a major
see.
military offensive to knock their most dangerous adversary, Austria, out of the war. The two main efforts will be made along the Rhine by powerful armies under General Jourdan and General Moreau. A third effort, of which much less is expected, will be made in northern Italy.
with the Napoleon.
The
I remember
French
from
army
oversimplified.
of Italy is a poor cousin, starved of money and supplies, stripped of troops to reinforce French forces on the Rhine. But its fortunes are about to change. On the 2nd of March 1796, the Directory appoint a new commander to lead the army, one of France's youngest generals.
Okay, so he was general at this time.
Okay.
I think they promoted him after the Toulon. Corporal is a very, very low rank.
Yeah, it must have been just...
Hitler was a corporal. You have a
Napoleon
private,
arrives at the
senior
Army of
private,
Italy's
and the corporal.
headquarters in
Ah,
Nice
okay, so low.
on the 25th of March. He is just 26 years old.
Don't keep reminding us.
2 years have passed since he masterminded French victory at the siege of Toulon. Since then, his fortunes have been mixed. A short spell as artillery commander in Italy, 10 days in jail when his political patrons fell from power. He then refused to serve in the Vendée, fighting French counter-revolutionaries, leading to several months' unemployment in Paris. Then, an extraordinary break. 13 Vendémiaire, Paris. A royalist mob threatens to storm the national government. Napoleon is the closest general to hand.
Ah yes,
and
he
put in
fired
charge
at
of its
the
defense.
public, right?
Napoleon.
Yeah.
He
It was in the movie
disperses
too.
the crowds
Oh
with
yeah,
brutal
okay, now I
efficiency,
remember.
and is acclaimed savior of the revolution. A grateful Directory promotes Napoleon to General of Division and awards him command of the Army of Italy. On the 9th of March, he marries his great love.
Oh, we know all about it
Josephine
from the
de
movie about
Beauharnais,
Napoleon. And nothing
leaves
else.
for the front 2 days later. There are French generals in Italy with a better claim to command than Napoleon.
I just wanted to say right away that I have a confession to make. I was a bit tired before we were sitting down to this video, and I was like, oh my god, half an hour, okay, I can do it with enthusiasm and everything. But I don't have to fake anything. This is so good, and I don't understand why it's so good. Like, it's just pictures, and I mean, he does these effects with the fire around it and sound effects. It's so good. Like, I feel like I'm there, and it's more exciting than the movie was. Isn't it to you? Like, maybe I'm like overplaying it, but it really is exciting what he's showing, like this, you know, this story and everything because of his voice and the music
You
in
will
the
become
background.
a history geek like me.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, but it's so fascinating. I've never really, like, I like history videos and like learning about history, but I've never been so fascinated by it before. Honestly, I think this is the most I have been, because I think just because it feels so epic because of the music and the voice and
That's how
everything.
history in school should look like, you know.
Yeah.
Instead of learning all those dates, you know, all those names of places, of people, just a summary, you know, of an event in a way that it makes you understand what happened, why it happened.
Yeah, because I saw in the comments some people said to us, oh, it's my favorite series on YouTube. And I thought, okay, I mean, if you like history, I guess, but you know, inside me it was like, well, what this series with pictures and a nice voice, yeah, I get it, but like your favorite series on the whole of YouTube, but I understand it now.
Because it's entertaining, and it also has this vibe, you know, of you sit on before the computer, you're watching some videos, but you don't feel like you're wasting time because you are learning.
Yeah.
And that's a big part in it.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's why I'm not watching TikTok, for example, because it maybe gives you a pleasure, you know, some laugh, but it does not teach you anything.
No, but there are these awesome apps now that you can scroll and learn at the same time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have one. But okay, let's go on.
What apps?
I forgot what the name is. I can put it in the description box for you because there's a lot of scam apps as well. But it's like this Kinu Academy, I think that's the one that's not a scam. And it's like short videos and short text that you can watch, and it's interactive, so you can do quizzes at the end. But it's like scroll, so you don't have long text. It's like Wikipedia, but in very short.
Okay.
It's really nice for people with short attention spans.
Serrurier, a professional soldier who first saw action in the 7 Years' War, a decade before Napoleon was born. Augereau, a tough, experienced soldier, bold tactician, and committed Republican.
Because he has
and
such a
Massena,
big nose. Oh, they all have.
from the ranks, fearless, tireless,
Oh,
hero of the Battle of Loarno against the Austrians the year before. All three would later become marshals of Napoleon's empire.
Okay.
For now, Napoleon seems to these veterans young and underqualified, a political appointment, embarrassingly infatuated with his new wife. But there is something about
those
the
feathers
Corsican.
look very nice in
As
the
Massena
in the
observed,
colors of the
his
France
small
flag.
size and puny face did not put him in their favor. But as soon as he donned his general's hat, he seemed to grow by 2 feet.
He wasn't that small, right?
No,
Napoleon impresses above all with his tireless energy.
it's because they calculated
has
in
much
English
to
foots and not in the French foots.
His
The
army
French
is
foots are
organized
bigger.
into Massena's advance
sorry.
guard of 2 divisions, one led by a hard-fighting Swiss general La Harpe, and the other by Meunier, whom Napoleon soon decides is incompetent.
Oh,
The main body
shunned by
comprises the
Napoleon.
divisions of Augereau, Serrurier, and 2 smaller divisions under Macquart and Garnier. The cavalry is led by General Stengel. But the army of Italy has been shockingly neglected by the Directory. The men are hungry and unpaid, with a few units on the verge of mutiny. Some men don't even have shoes or muskets. Napoleon inspects the troops and studies reports. He enforces discipline and breaks up rotten units. He is assisted by his aide-de-camp, Junot, Marmont, and a dashing cavalry colonel, Joachim
I like that we
Murat.
have the portraits as well, so
As
we can
emperor,
imagine.
Murat is
Napoleon will
going to be
make
famous
2 of
later
these
on.
men
Is he?
dukes, and
with
one,
his cavalry charge, in which he saved Napoleon.
his most valuable assistant, is his new chief of staff, General Berthier, who helps him to reorganize the army's supply system and scour southern France for food, transport, and forage. The situation begins to improve. But Napoleon knows what will really rejuvenate his ragged divisions.
His foot.
Victory in battle
Yes.
and the promise of plunder.
Oh yeah,
Of course.
of course. I hope you guys can read on the small screen these quotes. You probably know the video by
Napoleon
heart.
has spent 2 years studying
Okay, so
the
he came prepared.
situation in northern Italy and the history of past wars here. He has developed
He takes it
clear
very
plans
seriously.
on how the campaign must be fought. Now, he will put them into action. Napoleon, with 38,000 troops, outnumbers the Piedmontese and the Austrian army. But if they combine, he will be outnumbered, so he must prevent this at all costs. His plan bears all the hallmarks of what will become known as the Napoleonic art of war.
But they're
A
moving
bold,
fast.
rapid advance, not against the expected target, Genoa, but Dago. Here he will occupy the central position and prize his enemies apart. He knows that when threatened, the Piedmontese will retreat on their capital Turin, the Austrians on Milan. With his enemies divided, unable to support each other, he can defeat each in detail. Napoleon's plan will be aided by the fragility of the Austro-Piedmontese alliance. They regard each other with deep distrust after years of rivalry. The new Austrian commander, General Beaulieu, is experienced and was once considered energetic, but he is now 70 years old and does not know Italy. He is convinced the French will target Genoa, the port used by the British to supply their coalition allies.
Yes.
So much so that he rejects Piedmontese plans for close cooperation. Their troops remain scattered across mountain passes in a general defense against invasion.
It's really like Napoleon's
On
playing
the
a
4th
completely
of
different
April,
game. than the rest
Napoleon
of them.
moves his headquarters forward to Albenga in preparation for his offensive. But Beaulieu strikes first. On the 10th of April, Austrian troops take Voltri to disrupt the expected French attack on Genoa. The small French garrison falls back to join Massena's advance guard at Savona. But Beaulieu's fixation with Genoa is playing into Napoleon's hands. Dago, with its vital crossroads that link the Piedmontese and Austrian armies, is covered by just 8,000 men of Argenteau's corps. Mountainous terrain means Beaulieu can only march to Argenteau's aid via Acqui, more than 20 miles to the north. What's more, Argenteau has orders to take French positions at Montenotte as a diversion for the attack at Voltri. But the French cling on courageously. Corporal Roache particularly distinguishes himself, exposing himself to enemy fire to shoot down on the enemy. His commander,
Wow, that's
Colonel
really brave, no?
Rampont, tells his men, "Here we must conquer or die," a moment which quickly enters French military folklore. It's the perfect setup for Napoleon.
I think the part of why the French fought so valiantly, and so bravely is the La Marseillaise. Like, I don't know if you ever heard it. If you haven't heard it, then pause this video and do it now.
Oh, I'm sure if people are into the Napoleon Wars, then my must
If
have
you
heard the
if you
French
ever
anthem.
heard this anthem, it's like
It is the best anthem there is, unfortunately. Unfortunately for our country.
you are ready to fight everyone.
In Poland, it's like you may fall asleep to our anthem, unfortunately.
It's not that bad, but it's not,
Yeah,
not,
but
not,
it's
not that good.
It's
as,
not that good.
Not in the same
people-
league.
Yeah, and we don't really understand what all the parts of it are about. It doesn't touch you this much anymore. You have to know the lore to know the anthem.
Yeah.
But he also was really good, Napoleon, at motivating them. You know what they said before about that they will be able to plunder when they are so hungry, and they're feeling also all this injustice that they didn't get all these, the weapons, the uniforms, everything, and all that the other people are getting. And then he comes in with the promise that you will be rich, you will get all these, wars of
And
war.
also he inspects the troops. It's not like he just went to his tents with his officers and talks only with them and he gets report. He goes there personally to see the people, to talk with them, and it's more motivating for them also to know that the leader is there with them.
Yeah,
it's
like you don't have your shoes, you're hungry, and no one cares about you. And then there's this guy, and he's going around, and he sees that you don't have shoes. He sees that you're hungry, and he says, "Okay, we're gonna do everything so that we prevent this."
It's similar like with Stalin when Germans attacked Soviet Union. Stalin evacuated the government from Moscow, but he himself stayed in Moscow. Even it was very dangerous for him, but he knew that he is such a big character, he's such an important person that if he would leave, then the morale would go down and the war would be lost. So he stayed in Moscow, and it really gave people the impulse to fight.
I really like how you're always able to draw these comparisons between different periods in history. I think it's interesting. It's really for me. I hope it's interesting for the audience as well. I think so, because it's...
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Napoleon. The enemy's attention is focused on Voltri, and Argenteau's corps has been left dangerously exposed. He swings into action, sending La Harpe's division to reinforce Rampont's troops, while Massena makes a tough night march across steep ravines in rain and fog to turn Argenteau's right flank. By dawn, the Austrians are outnumbered, outflanked, and under heavy attack. They retreat in disarray. Napoleon orders Massena to move on Dago, while he turns his attention to the Piedmontese. But Augereau's advance gets held up at Cosseria. The old castle is held by Piedmontese and Croatian grenadiers.
What Croatian
The
are doing
French
there?
launch frontal attacks into withering
That's a
fire
good question.
and suffer
You guys
hundreds
let
of
us know.
casualties. when the colonel of the 18th Demi Brigade is killed, a 26-year-old Louis Gabriel Suchet takes over command. "I have never seen fire like it," wrote Marmont, Napoleon's aide-de-camp. Despite heroic resistance, the hopelessly outnumbered garrison surrenders the next day. With Serrurier's division also advancing from the south, Piedmontese commander General Colli has little choice but to abandon his position at Montezemolo. The same day, under Napoleon's watchful eye, Massena takes...
You know what is very surprising for me? How they were able to know all of this. You must remember that there were no radios at the time. I thought just a moment ago that I think the sole innovation that would really balance, not balance, but outbalance the scale would be if one side developed like something like radio or something similar, like a method of communication, instead of having to rely on the couriers. On horses.
Then when you're moving so fast, it takes away the element of surprise because they can spot him, they can let them know.
Yeah, but also you are able to synchronize your movements more,
Yeah.
Now you have to trust that, that the order was given,
What did they
delivered.
use? On the courier, they used pigeons as well or not?
I don't think you can use pigeons like that.
I think pigeons
Because
only from specific location to specific
Yes,
location,
yes,
right?
and they were moving, so I don't think you can train pigeons so fast. So you were using, couriers, soldiers on horses, very fast horses, to deliver messages. But something could happen, to them, and then
The message is lost.
Yeah. So I think that is one. Like, of course, if you had machine gun at this time, it also benefit you a lot. But I think, like, if one side had the radio at this point, like Napoleon, for example, I think all world would be speaking French.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
But still, like, how they were able to know, you have scouts who are there to observe, but still, it's amazing that they were able to do that. That the army is coming from that side, so we need to go back.
Yeah. And making the decisions when the information comes at different points in time, and not everyone is there, so you can't inform them immediately of everything, right? This makes it so complicated when you think about it.
Yeah. And also
it's like you already send the troops, and then you get an information that the army is also coming from the other side. So you're not going to get them back. It's not everyone is there at the same time to make the decisions. Yeah.
Go. But while La Harpe's division moves off to reinforce Augereau, hungry French troops left in Dago turn to plunder and pillage. No one spots Colonel Vukasovic, a tough Croatian commander, approaching with 3,000 reinforcements. He attacks at dawn, routing the French and retaking Dago with ease. It requires the recall of La Harpe's division and another day of heavy combat before Vukasovic can be driven out of Dago.
No, but they
Bayonet
succeed.
charge, led by 27-year-old Colonel Lannes, wins particular praise from General Bonaparte. Napoleon has won 3 victories in 4 days. The marches and battles have been grueling, but he has achieved his first objective. The Austrians are regrouping at Acqui and will soon retreat to Alessandria. They can offer no support to the Piedmontese. And so General Colli orders another withdrawal to a strong defensive position behind the Corsalia River. Napoleon orders an immediate attack. Augereau's division on the right, Serrurier on the left, Massena in support. But the French, under heavy fire, struggle to cross the swollen river with its steep banks. When Serrurier's troops finally get into San Michele, they immediately begin looting the town and are thrown out by a counterattack.
They are not disciplined
Despite
yet,
his
as well
success,
as they will be
Colli
later.
is still heavily outnumbered and fears
And
encirclement.
hungry,
The following evening, he begins a covert withdrawal to Mondovi. But Napoleon is not deceived by the fake campfires. Patrols confirm his suspicions. The Piedmontese
really
are
smart.
pulling back. Though his troops are exhausted, wet and hungry, he launches them after the fleeing enemy. Colley's troops are caught before they can establish a new defensive line.
Ooh, massacred them.
Brave and popular General
You can really
Ducat
imagine everything
is
from this
killed.
painting.
Yeah,
Retreat
right? Good painting.
turns to rout. The French enter Mondovi in triumph, where at last, briefly, they can eat and rest.
They never talk about civilians there, you know? It's like when you have all those videos, all those documentaries, when they captured the city, they are only talking about the armies.
Yeah.
And they never mention like, oh, and the whole city was massacred, raped, and
Yeah, especially if you're talking you're cheering for the people who are doing the capturing, then it's quite
yeah, you're
difficult
like,
to
yeah,
mention that.
victory.
They just mentioned that they started plundering the city, not what it entailed.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the people were like, oh, here, have some bread. And they were like, oh, thank you for the bread. That's not the kind of interaction that happens.
Or they were just taking the bread from someone else,
Yeah.
like plundering, yeah, give me that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them were. I'm sure there were some decent soldiers as well. You don't think so?
But
I don't think everyone was rotten and everyone was raping and everyone was killing. And there were people who weren't trying to defend themselves. They were just like, oh, take it. And I'm sure there were some people who just took it and they didn't hurt
but
us.
it's like basically it goes without saying in the army, you know. You as a commander, you don't forbid that to the people because it's like that's what the soldier's life is about, kind of.
That's kind of your salary.
That's kind of your salary, exactly. What you will steal, what you will.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not saying they wouldn't steal, but you can steal without violence.
That's also like a pleasure.
It's part of your salary as well. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, that's really
It's
motivating.
pretty powerful, yeah. And you know
General
how
Colley,
they
his
gained the
defeated
status.
troops scattered and demoralized, requests an armistice.
that?
Napoleon declines as his
peace.
troops
Okay.
descend from the mountains into the fertile plain of Piedmont.
Not really peace, but no fight.
Yeah, like
Destitute
the
and starved, French soldiers now plunder the Italian countryside freely. Brigadier General Joubert is among those frustrated by the men's conduct. Everything would go very well if the soldiers did not abandon themselves to pillage. Not a day passes without some looters being shot. Despite this severity, the mania doesn't stop. The rural folk are arming themselves.
So he's
Napoleon
not
condemns
saying it's
such
immoral, but
behavior,
just that they are dying.
But his orders have limited impact, especially as everyone knows Generals Massena and Augereau to be two of the greatest offenders. On the 25th of April, French troops enter Carrasco, just 30 miles south of the Piedmontese capital, Turin. Meanwhile, General Beaulieu is at long last marching to Piedmont's aid. But he is a week late. And when he learns that Piedmont has opened negotiations with the enemy, he withdraws his troops in disgust, planning to take up new positions along the Po River.
Like some bigger
Austrian troops
river.
join in the plunder of Piedmontese villages as they go.
Ah,
Victor
nice.
Amadeus III, King of Piedmont Sardinia, sees no option but to accept Bonaparte's terms for an armistice. Piedmont must give up the strategic fortresses at Cuneo and either Alessandria or Tortona, leaving the country virtually defenseless.
Those are some
The
tough
final
conditions.
peace treaty, signed 3 weeks later in Paris, cedes Nice and Savoie to France and grants free passage to French armies. Napoleon has ended the 4-year war with Piedmont in less than 3 weeks.
That was just 3 weeks.
Crazy guy. That's harsh. That's harsh.
But also motivating, I guess.
The army of Italy has little time to rest on its laurels. 4 days later, having received 7,000 reinforcements and fresh supplies, it's on the move again. Napoleon plans to invade the rich province of Lombardy, ruled by the Emperor of Austria, and defeat Beaulieu's army. But first he must cross the Po River, which is closely watched by Austrian forces. It will prove one of Napoleon's most brilliant maneuvers.
Okay, I'm
Massena
already
is
interested.
ordered to make conspicuous preparations to cross the river near Salé, assembling boats and building gun batteries.
But he'll do something
Meanwhile,
else.
Napoleon has formed a new elite brigade, 5,000 grenadiers, carabiniers and chasseurs to act as the army's advance guard under the command of General d'Allemagne. This force
I would like to be told what are the grenadiers and the something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think I know what the grenadiers are, but...
They're like some kind of like trebuchets, something like that? Did they throw some kind of... Or not? What did you think?
I think something related to artillery.
Yeah. Something related to it.
But I would like to know specifically, you know? And
yeah,
the
if
third
you could
term,
show us, maybe.
and the third term I never heard before. They are always assuming that you are so smart that you will know this already, but...
I guess this is more for history geeks already, but yeah.
I will check it out later.
Definitely.
What were the words? Chasseurs. 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 Chasseurs.
Army's advance guard under the command of General d'Allemagne. This force is ordered to march rapidly east to Piacenza and cover 40 miles in just 36 hours. They are followed by La Harpe's division, then Augereau and the cavalry.
That's a lot of marching.
That is a lot of
Beaulieu
marching.
receives reports that French troops are moving east and begins to redeploy his forces, while remaining conscious that there are still French troops that might cross the Po as far west as Valença. This
Yeah, it's
uncertainty
difficult to
makes it
coordinate.
impossible for him to concentrate his forces. What's more, he's completely underestimated the scale and speed of Napoleon's move.
Oh, they will cross
The
before
French advance
they will
guard,
get
with
there.
Colonel Lannes in the lead, crosses the Po on the 7th of May, chasing off Austrian patrols that are the only opposition. By the next morning, most of La Harpe's and Augereau's divisions and the cavalry are across, consolidating the French bridgehead,
That's
while
amazing.
Massena and Serrurier move to the crossing as fast as they can. Men of General Liptay's division are the closest Austrian troops. They take up defensive positions at Fombio, but are overwhelmed by the French attack. That evening, Beaulieu's advance guard arrives, expecting to reinforce Liptay. Instead,
Too
they
late.
blunder into La Harpe's division. In confused night fighting, General La Harpe is shot dead, possibly by friendly fire. Napoleon regards him as one of the army's best generals, and his loss a great blow. Beaulieu, realizing that the French have crossed the Po in force and now threaten to cut him off, orders a rapid withdrawal east. Milan is to be sacrificed. The great fortress of Mantua will be his next refuge. The French advance guard is soon in pursuit. On the morning of the 10th of May, they catch the Austrian rearguard at Lodi.
Oh, that's the one that is in the title.
Yeah?
Yeah.
French troops
Oh,
chase
yes.
the Austrians across town and over the town's 200-yard bridge over the River Adda. But when they try to follow, they find the bridge is swept by fire from 14 guns.
Oh, I like that we have the
Its far
detailed
end
animation
is
now.
held by 3 battalions of Croatian infantry.
What are Croatians doing there?
Yeah, I
Battalions
also
and
want to know.
cavalry squadrons are behind them in reserve. Around 6,500 men in total.
Maybe they were mercenaries?
Napoleon soon arrives.
But now they
and
have a general
positions
there
guns
before.
to
Yeah.
bombard the Austrians on the far bank.
They had.
An artillery duel rages for much of the afternoon. Napoleon sends Beaumont's cavalry brigade upstream to look for a ford so they can cross the river and flank the Austrian defenses. But he grows impatient.
Okay.
Massena's division has begun to arrive from the south, bringing his strength up to 15,000 men and 30 guns.
Only 30?
Napoleon makes a speech to the infantry,
The artillery guns, I
taunting
think.
them,
Yeah, I know, but still.
daring them to take the bridge, then orders them forward. To cries of "Vive la République!" the hardened 2nd Carabinier Battalion leads the charge. They come under torrential fire from the Austrian guns. But urged on by Napoleon, Berthier, Massena, Lannes and others, French infantry surge across, under and around the bridge.
How do you convince
Faced
people to
with
do
this
that?
irresistible
Yeah, to run at the
onslaught,
firing
the
artillery.
Austrian
Yeah.
front line crumbles. And with French cavalry across the river to the north,
Like trenches.
the rest
but
of the Austrian rearguard begins an orderly withdrawal.
Oh yeah, and they're attacking from the flank.
4-1. Oh, of course. They all go. They all win 2 battles and they become megalomaniac.
Yeah. Well, he was kind of right
5
though.
days after his victory at Lodi, Napoleon
Until he
leads
wasn't.
his army into the
Until he
city of
wasn't.
Milan. They are welcomed by cheering crowds,
Why?
though in reality, Italians are deeply divided in their attitudes towards the French. After Lodi, French soldiers have a new nickname for their general, Le Petit Caporal, the Little Corporal. It's a term of affection because he gets his hands dirty, even aiming the guns himself, the job of an artillery corporal.
I didn't think he would like this kind of nickname.
I don't know. But he
Just a
liked to be
month.
loved, I think.
Yeah.
Napoleon has transformed a war-weary, disheveled and demoralized army into a victorious fighting force, brimming with esprit de corps and eager for further conquests. While he, in his first campaign, has demonstrated extraordinary energy, mastery of detail, brilliant military intuition, above all, indomitable self-belief. It is this quality that inspires his soldiers to risk their lives for glory, for the Republic, and for the man they will one day acclaim their emperor. A big thank you to PMF Productions for their help creating this series and charting Napoleon's movements across northern Italy. We highly recommend their YouTube channel featuring their own detailed series on Napoleon's Italian campaigns,
So
which you
did
can
it too
find by
serious?
searching PMF Productions
Maybe something
or
different.
using the link in our video description.
So they were
Thank you
responsible
also
for
to artist Keith
the
Rocco for
illustration.
kind permission to
Nice.
use his artwork in this series.
Ah.
You can find more
Oh.
of Keith's
I thought it's like a
brilliant
historical
Napoleonic art
artwork.
via the
I
link
think some
in
of
our
it, but
video
maybe not all
description.
then. So
And
really
thank
good
you, of
art.
course,
then.
to all
That's
the
good.
Epic History TV Patreon supporters who make this channel possible. Visit our Patreon page to find out how you can support our work, help choose future topics, and get ad-free early access to new videos.
All right. It's very good. Very, very interesting. Very, how do you say? You can't take your eyes out of it.
Yeah, off it.
Nice.
Not out of it. That would be a bit grim.
You know that you
Off it. Off it. Yeah.
you have constant focus.
Yeah, it was really good, and I was really, especially for someone like me, like I like history, but I'm not that good at focusing for a long time on something, especially with the dates and then the battles and everything that I maybe don't understand. But with this, I understood everything, and it, like you say, you can't take your eyes off it.
I like this length. I don't know how it's gonna be in the future, but I think half an hour is the best length for a documentary
I don't
like
think it
that.
gets much longer. Some of them are like below 20 minutes, some of them are like 35, but I don't think it gets to 40 minutes.
Oh, that's good
Yeah.
because 1 hour can be quite.
The 1 hour videos that you could have seen on
Tiring.
the channel are compilations, so they are just like compilations of the videos
Okay.
before.
I was wondering about what was being said at the end, that the soldiers were ready to risk their lives for glory
Yeah.
and for their future emperor. Like, I can't quite understand it as a person. Like, I can understand this kind of motivation to risk your own life if it's for the defense of your country. Like, if your country was invaded and you are defending like your home city, then I can picture in my head those emotions that you can have at this moment, like in the Second World War, for example, or the First World War, when your country was being pillaged and people were your friends, your family were being murdered by the enemy. Then you have this rage in yourself, this need to avenge those people. But if you are the army that conquers other countries, it's difficult for me to get into this mindset that you need to have to storm on the bridge like that, being under artillery fire, and still be able to do that and then continue to do that. Because if I would, I think, I don't know, I was never in the army, but I feel like if I would survive this, I would be like, oh God, thank you for letting me live. Never again. I will go on the farm. I will plant tomatoes.
I think a lot of soldiers, though, they are kind of without their point of life at the point when they stop fighting, and it's the easiest for them to just keep on doing the same thing.
Yeah, I can't understand this. Or like you have mercenaries, people who are living in that way.
Yeah.
They are getting paid to do that, and not necessarily to defend, but to attack. And the mortality rate must be crazy. Like you have probably better chance to die than to live.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh well,
that's the job.
I think religion helps with that.
For sure, like a vocation, or if
but
you are
still,
really patriotic,
if you are mercenary,
almost a religion.
If you are mercenary and you attack other people, then religion must be. How do you justify this in your
because
conscience?
They are bad people. They are the sinners, and you must spread the word of your Lord, whoever he is.
But it's not a religious war.
Yeah, but still, maybe I don't know.
You are attacking the country where the Pope is.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is difficult to justify.
And France was Catholic. It was not France. Yeah, it was not Protestant country.
But they were moving toward the atheist at that point, right? With the Republica, I think. They were kind of over having this kind of.
Not really. Paris maybe, but the rest of the country was not as pro-revolution as the capital was.
Okay.
And they were not happy that the king was removed. They were royalists. That's why he mentioned even in this video and in the previous video he mentioned that you had those counter-revolutionary uprisings in France. Like even the one that he mentioned at the beginning when Napoleon opened fire to the mob, they were pro-royalty, royalists.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you are an atheist, I think it's difficult to sacrifice your life so easily just for glory. And it's not even your glory; it's like the glory of your country and the glory of the general that you fight for.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine.
Would you do that?
No, I'm not the kind of person. I don't think I would be so motivated by something like that. Maybe if I was really manipulated, but depends where you grow up, depends what your childhood looks like, what your influences look like. If that was all I ever heard, and if I really believed it, maybe. But I would have to be very sheltered to have that kind of...
I can't imagine, living in those days. Like, for example, when the First World War started, and the people in basically all the countries were like, they were waiting for this conflict. Yeah. They were waiting to check out this whole technology that they had. Yeah, after that they were like, oh, we fucked up.
Let's not do it again. And
for
then they
20
did it
years. Again. Yeah, but that you had this patriotic feelings in your heart that, I will fight for my country. It will be such a glorious event. And people who were not able to fight, they often killed themselves because they were not able to fight. And it's such a different mindset than we have nowadays.
Yeah,
like now it would be difficult to convince like French people to fight against the Spanish people, like they know each other so well. You have friends that you were probably playing, some games online with them, and now you were supposed to fight them.
Yeah, I think like the globalization is part of it, but also just how you're brought up, because now that most of the West has learned what this sick patriotism does to the country, we are kind of moving away from nationalism, at least at schools. So you're not brought even in this way. It's not something that you even consider. Depends on your family, but it's not so all encompassing that your family thinks like that, you know, country first, and your schools think country first. And even if that's not what, I think that wasn't maybe what people really thought down in their hearts, but it was just such a convention that you just probably didn't say really out loud that you thought differently. So it's different.
Like I said, but it's such a mindset that I cannot comprehend nowadays.
Yeah, I don't have any desire to fight. Like, I don't feel connected to my country in that way that I would fight for it. I would fight for my neighbors. I would fight for my friends, but I don't think about them
I would maybe probably. I think. I hope. I don't know. I will not make any declarations, but I would be more inclined to defend my country.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Than to attack other countries.
I can't imagine attacking other countries.
Just because some people tell me to
just to become greater or something like that. Like, what do I care if my country is greater?
Or to expand the territory. Like, I don't care about the territory. Like, I will not have any advantages for that.
But I
will not profit from that at all.
It's difficult to convince people to do that. That's why even now, when you have the war in Ukraine, that's not what the soldiers were told. They were not told we are expanding the territory. They were told we are saving our people. We are attacking these people who brought harm to us.
Somehow. Yeah. But you mean about Ukrainians or the Russians?
Russians. Yeah. Well, the Ukrainians didn't need light too, you know. Yeah. But thank you very much, guys, for watching and for recommending this series to us. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I didn't expect to enjoy it so much. So I think we will continue with this in some time. And I know we also are supposed to check out the World War I series of them, but I think we'll tackle
one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. We'll tackle one thing at a time. And yeah, small reminder, we do have the movie channel, as we mentioned at the beginning. If you want to check it out, there's the 1917 movie over there. So if you like, not if you're into war, if you like, war-related war movies, then that might be something for you. Yeah.
And in the future, we will definitely watch Saving Private Ryan, because Veronica has not seen it ever, and it's a crime, and we will finally have to resolve it.
And I think lots more war movies as well.
Thank you, guys. Check out our Patreon as well if you want to support us. Thank you for watching with us. Have a great day.
See you in the next one.
And see you in the next video. We upload every day on this channel. So,
bye.
Goodbye.